Good morning. Welcome into another installment of Trust Matters, Real Estate and Estate Planning Solutions with Sean Robertson from Gateville Law Firm. They are located in Yorkville at gatevillelawfirm.com and 630-780-1034. Sean, welcome back, and how are we doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today, Mike?
Doing pretty good. We kind of touched on this a little bit last week about the revocable trust and how things can be amended as time goes on, and that's more of the central focus for today's show, is the reminder for folks that there can be some adjustments made to some of these decisions when it comes to trust, right?
Absolutely. Whether you're a young parent with children, maybe you want to make changes to your guardian or your powers of attorney, or maybe you're an older adult that you made changes to your will and trust, or you created one when you had minor kids and now your kids are adults and maybe they have kids. So a revocable trust or a will, we can amend those things, and I think those things are important to keep up with life changes.
And people might not realize that you can make the change. They might think, oh, I set it in stone, 10 years ago, and now what happens? Yeah.
Exactly.
So what kind of process is it to make those changes?
Yeah, so generally to make those changes, give us a call. Sometimes there could be just minor changes, and sometimes it could be just a complete overhaul and a new estate plan. So every case differs, to be honest with you, Mike.
What's the kind of the plan of attack for making the changes? Because sometimes you'll be aware of maybe a law that's been passed or something like that the person might not be fully aware of, so you can kind of stay on top of that stuff.
Yeah, correct. Because a lot of times, back in the 1990s and early 2000s, estate planning was different than the way it is now. And so one of the benefits of creating something new, like, let me give you an example, like Venmo, Zelle, those things really didn't exist back in the 90s and 2000s. So now a will and a trust can have provisions for those type of issues.
Okay, very important there. The importance of legal counsel, that's a pretty important point for folks to keep in mind.
Yeah, and I should also say this regarding amending your trust. A lot of people don't even think about Facebook pictures. It's not necessarily a ton of money, but a lot of times the sentimental value is really important to people.
That's for sure. So what other points do we want to remind folks about in terms of amending any trust documents?
Yeah, and I think what's also important is sometimes we see people that have do-it-yourselfers estate plans, and a lot of times those are inadequate. I mean, they may not even be legal. Like, for example, I've had cases where you had a person that had their fiance or their spouse witness their powers of attorney or their wills and trusts. And you're not really supposed to do that. That could be a conflict. It could be a reason to invalidate your will or trust. So I think one of the benefits of using an attorney is we understand the challenges and the opportunities, and we know how to help set things up.
There are different types of powers of attorney, right?
Correct. Generally, there's two types of powers of attorney: a power of attorney for property and a power of attorney for health care. The power of attorney for property is where you make financial decisions. You can sell a home, you can go to the bank. The power of attorney for health care is for health reasons. And, a friend of mine and I were just talking recently where his dad has Alzheimer's, and it's important to have backup powers of attorney, meaning 2 and 3, because a lot of times if something happens to one person or a second person, there's a problem. Or a lot of times people move locations, and so if they become incapacitated, it's too late to change. And if that sibling is not on that power of attorney, it may be too late to make that change.
But these are changes that can be worked on as time goes on and situations fluctuate, right?
Absolutely. And I think one of the important concepts in estate planning is flexibility, because a lot of people, their life changes, the law changes. I mean, in 2026, we're probably going to come up with a major new tax law, which is going to have a huge impact on estate planning.
See, that's something you're on top of, and
Right.
folks might not have any sense as to what that's all about. And
Exactly.
you're already ahead of the game 3 years down the road. That's the type of customer service you can get with Gateville Law Firm and Sean Robertson. He is the man to talk to, and you can do that by calling 630-780-1034, GatevilleLawFirm.com. They're located in Yorkville, but even if you're listening to us from quite a ways away, they'll give you all the info over the phone. You can do a video meeting online as well if that works out better for you. They want to help make sure that you get the information the easiest way possible. We'll see you next week for another edition of Trust Matters Real Estate and Estate Planning Solutions.